Hi listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to Upptalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say Upptalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it. Let's investigate SAP, a well-known enterprise resource planning system, and discover its many functionalities and business applications.
So yesterday we have seen this example. We have created a procedure and we were not able to get the data with the user. ID latest 123.3. So I went into the issue and I checked. So what happened is that in privilege there is one mistake that we have done. So yesterday itself, I ought to know that, but since we didn't have time yesterday, we were not able to see that. Now we can see it. Let us go to the package latest. So we have created a privilege. We have to underscore that. And in this privilege, we have assigned the assigned procedure, assigned restriction tab. So in assigned restriction tab, we did a mistake actually. The operator was given as a int. The operator was given as equal to, but equal to will not work for type catalog procedure. Fix can be like, fix can be used with equal to operator, but we have created a procedure which works with only operator. INENT. We have to select IN only for content for catalog procedure. So once I selected this catalog procedure and once I save the changes in this analytical privilege, then I'm able to see the female data with the help of latest 123. We are using a procedure we need to use in operator. Yes, whenever, for all procedures. So, but the catalog procedure. Since you are Henny, you might be a database administrator. You are a database administrator. But database administrator also will not create any procedures. The modelers. I hope you do not create any models as part of your daily job. There will be no, I'm not. So you will not create any models. So there will be a developer who is responsible to create these models. So he will be creating these procedures, not you, and he will be knowing what all restrictions are that he needs to add here. So he will use it. Let me show you now if you are able to access it or not. Let's close everything. So the data preview is open and select that to view. I am able to see the data with only the female as per the restriction. So the same thing, I can always modify the authorization table itself. The authorization table, I can either modify the authorization table or of course, I can only modify the authorization table. What is stored in the authorization table? In authorization table, you will have your user ID. Sorry, this is our schema. In the schema, you will have the tables and tables. You will see the authorization table that we have created. System is the master schema. Sorry, I mean system is the parent. There is no parent and child concept. Only schema are available in the system. You can say that, but it is not available in system schema. It is available in the system. Only read access will be granted by giving this system. These two are responsible. So whenever we are creating any new user, you should always make sure that these two schemas access is given with select access so that they can read whatever data is created under this. Please be attentive. And we're starting our roles concept today. So why do we need roles? So let us say if you are creating a new user, let us say we have created a user called the test123 recently. If you remember, so what we have done, we have assigned privileges to the user. So let us see what kind of privileges we have assigned to this user for our understanding. Let us go to users and let us see. Latest 123 is that user ID which we have created. So what is that in latest 123? Latest 123. What kind of privileges we have added since this public role? We have not added this public role. Excuse me. This public role has come automatically. This is assigned by the system to grant you basic access and the read access in the system. This public is common scheme, common role which is added and coming to system privileges. We have not added any system privileges and coming to object privileges. We have added system underscore bi by IC latest 133 and repository underscore RASTI for various purposes. Like this, underscore B and BC is a mandatory schema which needs to be added to any user with select access in order to give him access to read any data under system underscore B, I and BC. And similarly, we have assigned latest schema so that the user will be able to access the latest and latest 23. Repository underscore REST is a procedure. It is also a procedure repository and REST is a mandatory procedure which needs to be added as a catalog object in order to give you access to the content folder. Unless and until you assign this access, will not be able to access anything under the content folder. Repository underscore RASTI will be given with access execute. I think privileges. We have created an analytical privilege. So we have assigned itself. So package privilege also we have assigned latest. Application privileges and it is not created by us. It is created by event and control is not create anything. Most of them are not created by us. But what does the security team do? Like you are assigning privileges, multiple privileges to user manually or individually, is it? So what should be the procedure? The procedure should be we have to create a role and this role should contain all the privileges that we are assigning now at one go. Simply, you have to assign this role to the user and the user should be able to access everything that he needs. Let us see how to create a role. So there are two types of roles. One is a local role and one role is a repository role. Like local role. Whatever local role you are going to create, you cannot import that role from one system to another system. Sorry, you cannot export that role from one system to another system. So the repository role is created in a different manner. So for repository role, there are two ways that you can create this role. You can either create it in the HANA Studio using SQL, but it's a bit complex. So SAP itself has given you an easy solution called IDE, which I will be showing you in the end in this session. So once you go into IDE and once you create this repository role, you will be ready to move this role from one system to another system. So there are two types of roles. Now, the role which I am going to create is a local role. This role cannot be imported from one system to another system. Let me give some random name. ZPass role 1. That will be my random name. I'm going to select the schema which goes under this. Before that, let me create a schema called security so that I can use it. If you remember nel B, you can tell me what is the schema that we need to use. So I'm going to say sorry. What is the query? Create a schema. Create type. Create schema. Security is your query. We have successfully created a schema called security, which you can access. We cannot click the catalog in create. You cannot create a click on a system and you cannot create a schema. Schema has to be created with the query. It needs to be in SQL. You should create the schema only in SQL. You cannot be able to create it manually. So schema is created. Let me go to the previous tab. I'll select the schema as security. I'm using it. I'm using the schema security. What I'm going to do, if I want to add any standard rules, I can do it. I can go ahead and I can add any standard rules that I want, but I'm not going to do it. Instead, I'm going to assign the privileges that we have sent recently to latest 123. I'm going to send the same privileges to latest 123 and let us assign the same role to some other test user. ID in test and let us see if he is able to get the access or not. So that we'll be able to understand what are assigned object privileges. This is BRCR assigned to this user. That is essentially. Usually the system is a bit slow, but in the same time I'm going to give latest 123 and repository rest. You should also select what you're going to do with this. I'm going to go select and execute. This is another good concept. I'll do execute. I'll do latest and latest on 23 schemas also. I'll do the same privileges, select and execute. Select and execute. And I'm going to do another test I'm sorry for this privilege. Now I'll select Execute and select. All the subject privileges have assigned. Let me assign the same and difficult privilege, which is AP underscore, AP underscore, AP underscore, AP underscore, AP underscore, AP underscore, AP underscore A underscore AP underscore AP underscore A underscore AP underscore AP underscore A underscore AP underscore underscore AP 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 underscore. Then we have this package. I'm going to share this. So your basis admin is going to fix those issues. I'm going to go to for it and I work execute. So our role is created. Our role is C test role. Could not grant execute to design. CSP role does not exist. So it is basically saying that you are not authorized to assign any political privilege or any object to this tool. So basically, to assign these privileges, you should also have some access with you. I'll show you what access you might need. What access you might need. So let us see what roles are assigned to our system user ID. Usually system user ID has everything. But unfortunately the system like that. So let me show you. Thought of doing it earlier. I don't know if it will allow me to assign everything. But see, our role is created. But the thing is that it will not give us any privileges. Also given system for this, I think. So I have everything. So I cannot assign this privilege to any role or user. It is not as this thing, but I should be able to do it. But no, this would come from the role only. Of course it will not allow. Let us do one thing. Let us create a user ID. That's fine. Almost all roles are assigned. Really, this role should not be assigned. So that is why it is creating an issue. So let me now use an LB and let us add. LB is already there. So we have recently created a role. Let's go and see if we are able to assign these schemas now to a role. Earlier, we didn't have the access to assign it, but now we should. You assigned all privilege to the security schema. We have tried to assign latest and repository. Along with that, we tried to assign cs underscore by and cs underscore bic, which are the mandatory schemas. But we didn't have the privileges to assign this access to a role. We have the privilege to assign this system, scope, and BSC to a user. But in order to assign it to a role, we should have some special privileges. So we have assigned all the privileges to admin user, which is you. This is your user ID. So let us try. This is the sys underscore by. So let's try. Not bad for let's try. Hold does not exist. There is some issue. So what happens is that basically, like we don't know, we do not create these roles locally. We only create these roles in IDE. This is HANA IDE security, which will give you access to the security. But let us go to the editor. If you go to HANA editor, so this is our IDE, so the URL is. Forget about the URL. I'll give you these URLs. It's not a big issue. It is basically IDE. If you have, this is your host name. As for HNADB is your host name, and along with the host name, you'll have the instance number. So if you give this instance number along with SAP NNA ID editor, you'll be able to access the web IDE. So I was creating this role earlier, this role design. I was creating role 100. Actually, I have created a schema in content folder of the name security. I'm sorry, I created a package under the content folder of the name security, and I was able to create this role. Sorry, I was creating this role. Sorry, this package which is a role design. Under this role design, I was creating a role which is role 100. So the repository role with naming convention will start this way. You'll have the package name followed by double columns followed by your role name, which is role 100. Here you'll be able to assign everything which you are doing it in your local HANA Studio. So the only difference is that, so whatever roles you create here we will not be able to import these roles. We will not be able to import these roles since this role will not be assigned to any package. We have created some schema, but still what we have done, we have clicked on these roles and we have created a new role. But this role is not assigned to any schema. So for that reason, what happens? You will not be able to, even though you might see that I have while creating this role, it asked me a schema name. I've given the schema name, but that schema will not be able to import that schema from one system to another system because it is a runtime scheme and then schemas cannot be imported. Runtime objects cannot be imported. So the objects created as a repository object only can be imported. One system to another system. I was trying to create some roles. Let us see. Let me give some random rules. Let me give content admin, or I want to create a user admin role. Let me search for it. Sorry, we have the user admin role basically in system privileges. I have assigned already. I have adopted the user admin and agent admin I already assigned. In object privileges what I have assigned, same thing. Repository sys_d and sys_dic with all the privileges. See an analytical privilege. I have not assigned any analytical privilege. If I want, I can assign this analytical privilege also. It will not stop me. Whatever analytical privilege we have created, you can assign. Suppose you have assigned AP_crack in the recent session. Let me assign it. That is privilege letters assigned latest. See backend, there was some issue. That is why it is not letting us to create any role. But this web IDE is always safe. It will not. It will have less issues. But the only difference is that there are some inconsistencies in this training server. Like now, I'm not able to check the package here. Let us say if I were to send the package latest. It is directory. It is redirecting me to root package. So that means that there is some issue here. There is some issue going on with this thing. Now it is good. I think so. Still, it is not allowing me to do it. Let me try to do the same thing here. Let me assign latest. Usually it is always suggestible to create the roles non-local roles. These are non-local. These are positive roles. Always create repository roles only in the real time. Now we create roles which cannot be transported from one system to another system, because the concept of security concept will itself fail. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@uptalk.com.